Okay, welcome everybody. It's 1 o'clock, so we're going to get started here. Welcome to the Gimmal education session on Gimmal Physical today. My name is Marcia Shields, Customer Success Manager. Our goal for these education sessions really is to help you address your business challenges. We're going to demonstrate our Gimmal solution to help with that. The hope is at the end of the session, you'll get a new practical and actionable path in using your Gimmal software. As you probably noted, we're recording this session and we will be sharing it after the event. Tim Butler is with us today. He's going to be your subject matter expert and we'll be demonstrating Gimmal Physical for today's session. Tim's going to be walking through how to notify Gimmal Physical users about in progress or pending requests or pending required tasks through email. Demonstration portion is about 15 minutes, followed up by 10 minutes for questions and answers. Please feel free to post any questions you have during the demonstration in the Q&A section in your Zoom. It's at the bottom bar. We'll address all the questions after the demo during the Q&A period. Okay, Tim, that's it for me. I'm going to pass things over to you.
All right. Thanks, Marcia. Appreciate it. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you spending a few minutes out of your busy day with us here. As Marcia said, we're going to focus on a single piece of functionality here called email notifications. And in the end, ideally, hopefully, it just makes your workflows a little more efficient via the communications from the software to various users throughout the system. Now, guys, I'm going to start the quick tutorial here, if you will, kind of on the boxes tab. And just to kind of steal my own thunder a little bit, guys, what the email notifications allow you to do, and it's true of every tab in your application, and your tabs will vary depending upon your exact configuration, but really, more or less, guys, you can tie email notifications to just about any of these actions or action buttons that you see in the application. And again, we're going to focus on boxes today, but you could do the same thing for any of the actions on any of the tabs. Now, a couple preliminaries we do need to cover here are prerequisites, so to speak. I've jumped over to admin, and I'm going to come down to a section that most of you probably never or rarely ever come into because you don't need to. However, when it comes to email notifications, there are a handful of application settings that you may need to be aware of. In other words, if these settings are not set properly, your email notifications have no chance of working. Now, for those of you that are in the cloud, these guys right here, all the ones that start with SMTP, we've already actually preset those for you, and the default values should work just fine. If you are on premises, you will have to come in here in conjunction with your IT to set the values appropriately to make sure these settings will make the whole email notifications work in the first place. You want to call out very quickly, guys, a couple of emails that you see here. This one that says the Gimmal administrator email. Generally speaking, you want to set that to whoever kind of the chief user is of your system. We use this email to alert the administrator of various events, really not even necessarily tied to the email notifications I'm about to walk through now, but it's for much larger, more important type notifications. So make sure you've got the appropriate email there. And then the one down below is really pretty arbitrary, guys. You can put anything you want in here to this Gimmal email address. It's just how it's going to show up in your inbox, who it came from, whatever address it is that you want to put here. So you got to have these prerequisites in line or the email notifications, no chance of them working. Now, the second big prerequisite, of course, is that in order for Gimmal Physical to successfully send emails, it needs the email addresses. And there's really two places, guys, where you can, outside of this there's a general administrative one. There's two places where you house your emails. If I come back to the main screen and on your users tab, it may be called something a little different, but really what you're going to have is for every user of the system, if we go to say the view page here, and your system may be configured slightly differently, but the long and short of it is, right, guys, for users in the system, those whom you want to receive emails, we need to have their email address. Generally speaking, and almost for all of you, these email addresses, they're automatically actually fed into the system via a single sign-on authentication kind of handshake, if you will. So when I jump here now, this is my demo system. So every user, I've just put my own email in there because my email notifications are active. I use this for demo purposes. I don't want random prospects and clients getting notifications when I'm walking through a demo. So a little bit fictitious here, but I've put my email in for all the various people. It could be the chance, depending upon how you're configured with your single sign-on repository, that the emails do not automatically come in. If that's the case, simply come to the update page and enter the emails that are necessary. So usually, guys, this is where Gimmal Physical goes to look for an email, is the user record itself. But I do want to call out, some of you probably are not aware. In fact, a lot of you may not be aware. Coming back to admin, roles, and permissions, your screen again will look different than my demo system, but you're going to have one or many roles listed here. And if you click, for example, this is the role I'm in right now as administrators. If you click on this edit button right here, that second edit button, not the first one, notice that at the role level, there's another place to enter an email address. And this can be super useful, guys, for a couple of reasons. Number one, and I'm gonna show you the notifications in just a couple minutes here, but when those notifications do get sent out, the first place the software looks, so it knows which email do I use, is the role level email. Now, you have the option of actually making this a distribution list. You can leave it blank like I have right here, or you could actually put an individual's email in here if you wanted to. But just know the logic of the software. When we send emails, the first place we look for which email address do we send to is here at the role level. If we do not find any value here, like my demo system is set up, that's when we go to layer 2 and we start looking at all the users who are in the role, and we use their email and send individual emails out to all of those people. Now, those are the prerequisites, right? You got to have your application settings configured properly. We have to have the email addresses. And then as a quick test, what can be very helpful for you, before we even get into the details of the actual notifications themselves, if you come back to admin, if you go to a page called Broadcast Notifications, we've included a nice little handy dandy test email button. If you click on that, all you really need to do here, guys, I'm going to put in my work email here, is do that. And then let me move my little Zoom guy out. I'm going to send the email. This is a good sign. If you get a red message here that says successful, that means that we were able to send the email, and it will show up in your inbox. Now, you may have to check your spam and those kind of things, but this means everything was configured properly from the application side to actually have the email notifications work. All right, so with all those prerequisites, now let's actually talk about how do you configure these notifications to actually start seeing these appear in people's inboxes. I'm going to come back to admin. We're going to drop a little further down and talk about notifications. All right, guys, the email notifications in the solution, they consist of 3 different pages. Page number 1, what we're looking at right now, shows you those email notification events you have already configured. For example, set these up ahead of time, send a notification when boxes are expunged, and it also shows the recipient. Now, in my demo, all of these are just sent to administrators. We'll show you what level of detail you can get to in just a few moments here. But page number 1 of notifications shows you what you've already configured and who will be receiving those. And in the end, page 1 only does 2 things. It shows you what you've already done, or you can delete some of the things you've already done. Just kind of summary what's already in place. Page number 2 comes when you click on Add Notification. What page number 2, guys, allows you to do, drop down at the very top, these are all of the notification events that have already been configured. I've already configured all these ahead of time. We'll get to page number 3 in a moment, but for now, what you're seeing here on page number 2 are all the events that we configured. And then for each one of these events, you get to pick and choose which roles do you want to associate the event. So on page 2, if you choose one of these guys here, and then you choose a role, we'll pick somebody else this time, and you click on save, What you've just done there is you've now configured another active notification and the recipient as well. Page 2. Page 3 is where the fun really happens, guys. If we click on that little link there that says add notification event, here's where the magic, so to speak, happens. All right. Now, 3 drop-down list, pretty intuitive here, but let's just walk through them. This top list is going to require the most explanation. And to that end, I'm going to come back to this if we have enough time to squeeze it in. 9 times out of 10, when you configure an email notification, you're simply going to choose the value of action. This means you're going to correspond this notification to those action buttons that you saw when we started the webinar. Second dropdown lets you pick from all of the tabs. Again, we're focused on boxes here today. So choose the tab. And then this third dropdown lists all of the various actions that can be taken on that tab. So let's do an example of, hey, I want to create a notification event based on boxes. What specifically? Let's set one up based upon the creation of a box. So here down at page 3, I'm setting up the notification event. Let's save it and get my confirmation. Okay, we got you. You set up the event. Let's close out of page 3, come back to page 2. Now on the drop down here, let's find that notification event that was just created, this one right here, and let's associate it to whatever role or roles we want. You do have to choose one role at a time and then click on save. So what we've done here now is we added a notification event for creating boxes. We've associated it to administrators so that now, guys, when we come back, let's close out of page 2, come back to page 1, here's that new notification we just configured, which means now when in the application, when on the boxes tab itself, when anybody creates a box, so here's my boxes tab, and I click on create. When I save this data, let's actually do one here. Let's pick a value on my record series. Doesn't really matter. You know, use all my dummy data here and save the creation of this box. This action right here, based upon the creation, has now sent an email notification, again, based upon the emails that you supplied, to the users that are within that administrative role. Now, to give you one quick look here, let's actually go to my inbox, and you'll see here, it kind of goes in, but here's these notifications that were created, right? You're seeing when I click that test email, here's what it tends to look like, right? Those kind of things. These are other generic notifications. And this one right here is what is reflecting what we just set up, right? A new item is created. Now, you might ask the question, why am I getting this 3 times? It's because there's multiple users in my demo system that are all using my email. So we sent the email to multiple people. They all just happen to be using my particular email address. So pretty lightning pace there, so to speak, guys, but thankfully we are recording this. That 9 times out of 10 is how you will set up your email notifications. Now, as promised, I want to come back in here one more time and really quickly talk about this. There is one level deeper in terms of granularity of a notification you can set up. And that notification is this. Back on page 3, previously I told you just to leave it at action. If you choose field value change, what this allows you to do, again, tab by tab, is based upon a drop-down list on that tab, you can say, hey, for example, whenever someone changes via an update, a box status from any other value to the value of approved, I want now to have an email notification triggered based upon that. So it's not just based upon the update action, but it's based upon a very specific flavor, if you will, of an update. Same process here. You can save this event, work yourself back out of this from page 3 to page 2, pick the value we just chose there for, assign it to any role you want, save it, get your confirmation, go back to page 1, and here's those notifications that have now been set. So I won't take the time to show you this one, but if I change the value of a box, the status that is from whatever it was to approved, administrators would now get an email. Last point I'll make, guys, and then we will open up the floor here for some questions and answers, is that on the whole, guys, virtually all of these email notifications are based upon roles. That is, when certain events happen, we send it to the email specified for the role or for all of the individuals in the role. There are a few exceptions to that, and I'll call them out right now. And really, they're all related, guys, to these requests. So when it says requests approved, requests fulfilled, requests in my possession, requests rejected, because of the nature of this workflow, these emails actually get sent to individuals, the individual performing the action, rather than to the role itself. Now, last point I'll make here, so I lied to you. There's two last points. That was the first last point. Second last point, to go kind of go full circle, I'm going to come back into broadcast notifications. Guys, on the whole, the email notifications are triggered when individuals do something. They explicitly do something in the application. There are a couple of notifications, though, that are based upon actually people not doing something. They're delayed in what they're supposed to do. So under admin broadcast notifications, in addition to that test email functionality, there are three things you can do here. Number one is based upon past due items. So if individuals, and this is determined by your settings in the preferences of the application, if people have kept items checked out too long, what you can do as an administrator is come in here, select one or more roles, or you can select all roles, and you can send an email. And if you do this, guys, it's going to send an email to every person who has an item checked out too long. Similarly, if you've got people that have too many items checked out, again, those values are set in preferences. Or finally, there's just this capability for a general message. If you just want to email everybody in your Gimmal Physical, hey guys, we're shutting down early on Friday, whatever the example happens to be, you can send a generic email based upon the input on this screen here. All right, so with that, let's jump back to our Zoom presentation and open the floor for questions and answers.
Great job, Tim. Like usual, thank you. We do have a couple questions. One is, when configuring notifications, can you add more than one role for a specific notification?
And the answer is yes. I flew through it, guys, just because of the time allotment here. But yeah, so as you create a notification event, you can assign it to one or multiple roles. You do, however, have to do it one at a time. So create notification event, assign it to a role, click save. Use the drop down, pick another role, click save. And so, yeah, you got to do it one at a time, but set each event or associate each event to as many roles as you want.
Another one is, can we use distribution lists for email recipients?
Yeah, and I probably sped again through here too quickly, but yes, absolutely, guys. Any place in the application where it allows you to enter an email, you can put a specific individual, or you could use a distribution list that you've set up on your own Exchange server.
Another one is there a limit to how many email notifications can be sent?
And yes, there is a limit, but it is really, really high. I'll just tell you that. Now, if you are on premises and you're using your own SMTP-based email server, you can send as many as you want. We have no control over that whatsoever. If you are hosted in our cloud, we actually use a utility within Azure known as SendGrid, and there is a limit, but I can tell you we don't reach that limit. We do have clients, guys, some of our larger clients that have thousands of email notifications per month that are being set. So no issues there unless you just go crazy on us. Yeah, I don't know the value, but it's probably in the tens of thousands.
If there's any more questions, you guys can still post them. But I think that's it for now, Tim. I don't see any more coming through. So thank you, everybody, for attending today. We really hope you enjoyed the session. We will be sending the recording link out, to be on the lookout for that in your email. Also, as a reminder, these education sessions are offered twice a month across our Gimmal Discover, Gimmal Records, and Gimmal Physical product. You can see the upcoming schedule here. All registrations can be done through the events, Gimmal events page on our website. Next session, February 13th, with Gimmal Discover, is going to be focusing on enforcing email retention policies. You are more than welcome to join, even if you are not using that particular product. All customers are welcome. And if you have any suggestions for future education sessions that you would like to see, please feel free to send them to myself or to success@gimmal.com. Thank you, everybody. We enjoyed it. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.